welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video. My mom and dad's marriage was a roller coaster ride, and I had witnessed that since childhood. They would be very loving at one moment and then would end up fighting like crazy at the other. They argued a lot and would rarely agree on something, but those fights never lasted a day or more, as they would be all right at the end of the day. Their behavior had ruined the peace of the house, and to be honest, I would sometimes think about what had made them stick together. I was around 10 years old and my dad started being weird and would ghost us now and then. He would tell Mom that he was going on a business trip and then would not even respond to her calls when he was away. He started missing from family dinners and parties and then did not even appear for Christmas once. That fueled the fights between them, and when my mom would complain about his behavior, he would disappear for days and would not even contact us. One time when my dad had left the house like that and my mom could not contact him, she went to his office and found out that he was there and had never missed the office even when he had been ghosting us. She created a scene there and then left his office. My mom came home that day and cried all day, saying that my dad was living a double life. I asked her how she was that sure, to which she replied that he seemed calm and did not even care what he was putting us through. My mom once followed my dad after his office and found out that he had been staying in one of his apartments. She even went there in his absence to see if there was someone, but no one answered the doorbell, so she was convinced that there was no sign of a woman. My mom then once again visited the apartment when my dad was there and did a thorough investigation, but there was no one other than my dad. That made my dad furious, and he told my mom that she was destroying the peace of his life. My mom then never tried to follow him or go on such missions. My dad's behavior also became better, and he had almost stopped ghosting us or staying away. Almost 2 years later, my dad did not return from the office, and we were worried as hell. My mom went to his office to inquire, and it was already midnight. The guard told her that my dad had left the office at around 3 p.m. that day. My mom then went to that apartment, and no one answered the doorbells. I told my mom that he would return, but she was not convinced and kept telling me that they did not even fight. Then why my dad was doing that to us. So my dad returned the next morning and looked weary. His eyes were swollen and he was very quiet. My mom bombarded him with questions, but he did not say a word. After some time, my dad told my mom that he had an extramarital affair and then broke up with that woman, but found out that she was expecting. My dad told us that her delivery was due the day before and she had passed away due to complications. He went on and said that she had given birth to a baby boy. A lot happened after that, and of course my mom was not ready to accept that baby, who had no one but us. My dad had apologized and convinced my mom to stay, but it was very hard to accept that child. She did not treat him well, always spoke bitterly to him, and would say that he was a son of a slut. I hated her behavior, as that kid was not to be blamed. Anyhow, 10 years later, almost 4 months ago, my dad had a paralysis attack and then died 3 months later. According to my dad's will, I was the one who was going to run his office, and he had told me to take care of my younger brother as a father. As soon as things got normal, my mom told me that she was going to switch my brother's school to a public one, as his education was burdening us. I was stunned to know that my dad's business had been doing well, and we were facing no financial problems. I knew she was trying to get rid of him, so I told her that she needed to stay calm, as my brother was not going anywhere. I told her that she should not think that she could treat him in whatever way she wanted to, because I was there to protect him. She yelled at me and told me that I was just like my dad and did not care about her. She has locked herself in her bedroom. AITA? My mom did not say anything after that, and a few days passed peacefully, but I could see that she could not even bear the sight of my brother. She would look for reasons to yell at him or rebuke him. Whenever I was around, she would control herself, but whenever I would get out of sight, she would start an episode. I had stopped her so many times and told her that she would have to face severe consequences if she did not change her behavior. She would say that I was the worst son and if I could take her side for once. I was entering my house after coming back from the office when I heard her yelling at my brother and telling him that he was a son of a bitch. I was enraged and I told her that she had to shut up or she was going to be kicked out of the house. She fell to the floor and cried like a baby. I grabbed my brother's arm and took him to his bedroom. I do not know how to handle the situation. There is no way my brother is going anywhere. And I cannot even kick my mom out of the house. I am clueless right now. So that was just another day. My mom was crazy and mad at my brother for no reason at all. She had broken a few things, throwing them at walls, and had created hell. My brother called me and told me that she had lost her temper and he was scared as hell. When I came home, my mom was yelling at the maid, and my brother was in his room scared and weeping. I told my mom that she had to leave the house right away. I told the maid to pack her stuff and announced that she was moving to my dad's apartment. My mom yelled at me and told me that she had no such thing to do in that apartment because she was not like my dad. She said that she was not leaving and the one who was going to leave was my brother. I told her sternly and even pushed her a little towards the door, and when she realized that I meant that, she started begging and apologizing. She said that she was not going to behave like that again and begged for a chance. I told her that this was the last warning and she had better take it seriously. I had to go to Minnesota for some work and was too engrossed with the office as I was new to everything and had to manage so much. I was reluctant to leave my brother with my mom, but there was no other option as he had to attend school and I was going away for about 10 days. I instructed the maid and told her that she had to inform the slightest inconvenience. My brother called me daily and would tell me how everything was going, but he did not call me on the 4th day of my trip. I called my mom in the evening, but she did not respond. I then called my place and the maid responded and informed me that my mom had taken my brother on vacation. I was breathless. I told her how he had gone on vacation, as there were none, and he had to attend the school. She told me that my mom had told everyone that I was the one who wanted her to take my brother on vacation. I came right back and kept calling my mom. She had responded and told me that she was on her way back. When she came back, she told me that my brother had gotten lost. I did not say a word and called the cops. When I was on the phone, my mom told me to stop and said that she was ready to tell me where he was. She said that she had left him in an orphanage. I told her that she was going to leave the house at that very moment without taking anything with her. I kicked her out and then went to bring my brother back. My mom had gone to her sister's place and kept calling me, but I didn't respond. She then texted me that I was kicking her out because I wanted to deprive her of the will my dad left for her. She said that she was going to sue me, and then I would come back to my senses. I didn't take that seriously, as I knew that she could do nothing. She then texted me again and told me that she needed to take her stuff and the keys to that apartment. I called her and told her that she could collect her stuff, but she was not allowed to move to that apartment. My mom came the next day to get her stuff and told me that she was going to drag me to the court. I told her that she was just going to waste her time as Dad had left nothing for her. I also told her that whatever Dad had owned belonged to me and my brother, and Dad did not even trust her with his will. She said that I was lying, to which I replied that she could check that by dragging me to the court. NTA, finally, someone is there to fight for something genuine and right. OP won my heart, as no stepbrother would stand for his step-siblings like that, especially when his mom was that mad at the kid. OP's dad knew he could trust his elder son with the younger one. I am not justifying cheating, but that kid was harmless. NTA, the only a-hole here is the OP's mom. If she had a problem, she could simply divorce her husband and leave years ago. Who asked her to accept his cheating and keep living with him? She was a senseless bitch who was trying to revenge on a kid because she had no guts to confront her husband when he was alive. Such a psychopath. I honestly don't know what to do anymore. My parents won't listen and it's infuriating. Here's my story. I might be adding updates, I'm not sure. I'm a 16-year-old guy, and I share a room with two of my younger siblings, 13-year-old girl and 8-year-old guy. while my twin brother gets his own room. I never thought it was fair that he got his own room, but I've come to the peace with the fact that he is my parents' favorite child. I can't blame them. He's smart, talented, and really good looking. But I am not sure if I can keep that peace anymore after yesterday. So, yesterday, my pregnant mother had called us all for a meeting. She said that a new crib was coming tomorrow and the baby would sleep in my room. Me and my youngest sister just got this feeling that something wasn't right. I told my mom that my room had 2 other people in it and it was already pretty crowded. My mom, however, refused to listen to me and said that we had the bigger room and it's only fair that her, my twin, didn't have to have another person in their room. My sister said it already sucked having 2 boys in her room and a baby wouldn't make it better. But my mom said that my sister was making excuses and having the bigger room means more responsibilities. My dad took my mother's side and told us that it's their house and when we were 18, they weren't the bosses of us anymore. I am usually pretty calm in these situations, but I couldn't contain how pissed I was. It was impossible to get any privacy in my room. What is another child going to do about that problem? I call my parents lazy asses for not moving and proceeding to go off about how they cared so much about my twin, but not me. I said a lot of stuff that was probably not true, but it made me feel better for a period of time. So, AITA? First of all, thanks for the silver and for update. Me and my sister are considering getting permission from my aunt to have custody of us because she didn't like the idea of me getting emancipated. NTA, but man, your parents are. I can't believe they're making a girl going through puberty share her room with her brothers. Also, babies cry a ton at night. I have a 3-month-old and she's waking up at least once a night to eat. I have no idea what their plan is, but none of the 3 of you is going to be sleeping. Buddy, you need to make your point, but do it in a way that will make it very obvious where you stand. Your sister and you need to volunteer to set the crib up. Then do it in their room. When they move the crib back to your room, you move it back to theirs. Or move it into your brother's. Or set it up in the living room. Basically, do not allow it to stay in your room. Every time the baby cries, all 3 of you start screaming for your mom and dad to come handle the baby. If you 3 cannot sleep because of a screaming baby in your room, then no one sleeps. Put a lock on your door. When you go to sleep at night, pick the baby up, hand the baby to your parents, then go into your room and lock the door. You guys can play hardball. Most importantly, NTA, your parents are terrible. I'm an 18-year-old female, and I was at a family gathering celebrating my aunt and her family moving into a bigger home. Many of our distant family members were present, including another cousin, Dee, female, 26. I used to be close to her as a kid. Now there's a few things you should know before I go further in. I used to be a very chubby girl all throughout my childhood. This escalated in 2019 when a friend of mine passed away. I was depressed and fell into a rut, suffering from a binge eating disorder. This meant I steadily gained weight, reaching 176 pounds at 5'4", which was not healthy. I got bullied for my weight too. In 2020, COVID caused a lockdown, which meant online classes. I dedicated a lot of time into losing weight. Diet and exercise, I'm not proud to say, however, that I then almost relapsed into another ED, anorexia. Thankfully, I sought professional help and instead managed to get to 119 pounds safely. It took me 2 years, but it was worth it. Now, at present, when we were at the party, my cousin started making comments about how I looked far too skinny and like a typical girly girl. No idea what that means. She's also very overweight and liked to say that I was her twin sister because I used to be fat too. I want to make this clear that a person's weight is not always an indication of their good health. You're not obligated to lose or gain weight in order to fit into society's ideals. That day, however, she constantly kept on calling me a twig, a pancake. It didn't bother me until during lunch when she straight up took one look at my plate and said this: "Are you eating that little? You eat like a mouse. No wonder you look like a famine victim." I just told her that I would take more if I needed to. I just didn't want to waste food. You look like skin and bones. Are you sure you're not suffering from a disease? Not too many people know that I was anorexic. She does, because I told her about it once and asked her to keep it a secret. The fact that she was very publicly alluding to it pissed me off. I just said, Dee, it's not my fault you eat like a bull. I'm not proud of this. I immediately regretted it. Dee was shocked too because she didn't talk to me at all after that. I apologized afterwards, but she didn't respond. My parents were divided on this. While they do not support what Dee did, they think I should have just ignored her. I am torn over it. AITA? I did not tell her that she ate more aloud. She was sitting right by me and I just addressed her. Only my parents know because I told her. She picked up my call. I told her that her words had hurt me deeply, especially because I had asked her not to talk about my ED publicly. I told her I was sorry for telling her that she ate too much and that it was very rude and uncalled for. I asked her to never be apprehensive about talking to me. She said she was sorry as well, but didn't want to talk to me for some time. I guess she needs a bit more time. Thank you for the comments, everyone. Sorry, everyone, I'm not able to reply to every comment. I have done my part and I'm satisfied with it. At this point, I do not want any apology. I hope she will come around soon and trust me enough to share her own problems. She clearly doesn't want to talk to me right now, and that's fine. I've asked my aunt to keep an eye on her. Thank you for your comments. NTA, she shouldn't be saying that in public. Could be a case of ESH, but if she is making these types of comments, she should expect the same back. Why do some people believe it's fine to make such comments on skinny people, look like a famine victim, but when it's on fat people, it's an offense? She dished some, might be without intent to offend, but maybe that would be a good occasion for her to learn this type of comment can hurt others. She should be able to take it as well.